Imagine walking into a giant blue and yellow box where there are no windows and no clocks. You enter to buy a simple lamp, but you leave 4 hours later with a cart full of candles, pillows, kitchen utensils, and a massive box of furniture that you have to build yourself. You are exhausted. Your back hurts. And you just spent $300 on things you didn't need. But instead of being angry, you feel a strange sense of pride as you tighten the last screw. This is not a coincidence. It is the most successful psychological hack in the history of retail. Welcome to the world of IKEA, the brand that doesn't just sell you furniture. It uses your own labor to make you fall in love with their products. Today we are uncovering the IKEA Effect and how a Swedish billionaire turned a maze of cheap wood into a global empire of emotional manipulation. The story of IKEA began with Ingvar Kamprad in 1943. He was a man obsessed with efficiency and low costs. But his greatest stroke of genius happened by accident when an employee decided to remove the legs of a table so it would fit into a customer's car. This was the birth of flat pack furniture. By making the customer do the final assembly, IKEA eliminated the cost of shipping air and reduced warehouse space by 80%. But they discovered something even more powerful. When humans build something with their own hands, they value it more. Behavioral economists call this the IKEA effect. You don't love that Billy bookcase because it's high quality. You love it because you suffered to build it. IKEA has successfully outsourced their labor costs to you and made you pay for the privilege. The layout of an IKEA store is a masterpiece of grew-in effect engineering. Unlike a normal store where you can go directly to what you need, IKEA forces you to follow a one-way path through a literal maze. They use visual blockers every 15 feet so you can't see what's coming next. This triggers a fear of missing out in your brain. You pick up small items like towels or glasses because you feel that if you don't take them now, you will never find your way back to that section. By the time you reach the warehouse at the end, your decision fatigue is so high that your rational mind has shut down. You are no longer shopping. You are just reacting to the environment that IKEA has perfectly curated for your submission. And then, there's the food. Why does a furniture store sell Swedish meatballs and 50-cent hot dogs? Because of the belly rule. A hungry customer is an impatient customer who spends less. By offering incredibly cheap food, IKEA resets your internal price anchor. If the meal is so cheap, you subconsciously assume that the sofa must be a bargain too. The restaurant is strategically placed in the middle of the maze to give you a dopamine hit of sugar and protein just when your energy starts to fade. It is the fuel that keeps you inside the box for another 2 hours. IKEA is one of the largest food chains in the world, and most people don't even realize they are being fed just to keep the flywheel of furniture sales moving. IKEA's supply chain is a miracle of industrial coldness. They use pressure surface technology to make furniture look like solid wood when it is actually mostly air and recycled paper. They are the largest consumers of wood in the world, using 1% of the entire planet's commercial timber every single year. But they mask this industrial scale with a brand image of Swedish simplicity and sustainability. They have created a disposable culture where it is cheaper to buy a new table than to move your old one to a new apartment. They turn furniture into a fast fashion commodity, ensuring that you return to the maze every few years to update your life according to their latest catalog. The genius of Ingvar Kamprad was also financial. He created a complex web of non-profit foundations and holding companies in Liechtenstein and Luxembourg to ensure that IKEA pays almost zero taxes while remaining under the total control of his family. IKEA is technically owned by a charitable foundation, making it one of the largest charities in the world. This structure allows them to ignore the short-term pressures of the stock market and focus on a 50-year plan for global domination. They don't just want to be in your living room. They want to define how the entire world lives in small, efficient, and identical spaces. Today, IKEA is moving into city centers with smaller planning studios and investing heavily in smart home technology. They know that the future is not just about physical wood, but about digital integration. But the core strategy remains the same. Use psychology to make the consumer do the work. They have gamified the act of furnishing a home, turning a chore into a weekend ritual for millions of families. They prove that if you give someone a sense of accomplishment, they will ignore the fact that they are sitting on a chair made of sawdust and glue. And you? Have you ever had a fight with your partner while trying to follow those wordless IKEA instructions? Do you think the IKEA effect is a fair trade for low prices, or are we just being tricked into working for free for a multi-billion-dollar corporation? Subscribe to Global Titans now and hit the bell, because in our next video we are going to talk about Rolex and why they are actually a non-profit organization that controls the world's perception of time. Are you ready to see how a watch became a religion? The system is watching you, and we show you the blueprints of the elite. Until the next corporate secret, are you ready for what's coming? Your Allen key is waiting.